around the world.
And now they're under investigation in a new exhibition called
The Unexplained.
It's a chance to take a closer look at some extraordinary happenings and decide for yourself if they're fact or fiction. So let's examine the evidence and ask, can you really believe your eyes? For hundreds of years, there have been mysterious sightings of yetis, abominable snowmen and Bigfoot, huge half-men, half-ape creatures who live in remote parts of the world. Some people even claim to have photographed them. This is the most recent photo taken in 1995 in the foothills of Mount Rainier in Washington State. And this is one of the first, taken 30 years ago in 1967. Found on Blue Creek Mountain in California, it's just one of the many strange footprints that have been discovered in North America. And this gives you a real sense of scale. It's a plaster cast taken from the creature's enormous footprints next to a human foot. Bigfoot measures a whopping 38 centimetres. He was also caught on film at Bluff Creek when he looked straight at the camera and then returned to the forest. With all this evidence, many people believe Bigfoot does exist. Then again, it's just as possible that it is all a big hoax. So, what do you think? Bigfoot, actual ape man, or furry fake?
I wonder. And now for a watery mystery from Scotland. Loch Ness is the biggest, darkest freshwater lake in Britain. It's 36 kilometres long. 230 metres below the surface, the bottom is strewn with wrecks and mysterious caves. But there's only one thing in the lake that people are really interested in, the Loch Ness monster. Nessie spotting really took off in the early 1930s, but strangely, she never seems to look the same way twice.
She's a huge eel-like creature with a row of shiny black humps.
I saw a single black hump gently rise and break the water's surface.
She has huge flippers which thrash through the waves.
This is probably the best-known photograph of the Loch Ness monster, taken in 1934 by a London surgeon. However, these days, the photo is thought to be a hoax. Some think it's a picture of a bird, while others claim it's actually a model of the monster's head attached to a toy submarine. However, even if this one is a fake, there are plenty of others around which claim to be true, offering real evidence that Nessie does exist. Like this one, taken in 1982. The photographer Jennifer Bruce insists it is not a hoax. And there are plenty of other people who believe that the Loch Ness monster really is out there in the murky water. To date, there have been over 3,000 sightings. Could all these people really have been mistaken? Well, what do you think? Nessie, mighty monster, or fictitious fish?
The exhibition also includes the phenomenon of UFOs, or unidentified flying objects. Since the earliest of times, people have seen strange objects in the sky. These were recently captured on film, and so far no one has been able to prove this footage is a hoax. However, others argue that you can fake sightings. This photo, for example, shows a UFO really close up, but it is probably a fake because apparently the closer and more detailed a UFO is, the more likely it will turn out to be a hoax. But no satisfactory scientific explanation has been put forward for this photo taken in British Columbia in Canada, leaving some people believing that it actually does show a UFO. What do you think? UFO, fascinating flying saucer, or phony photo?
Weird goings on. Well, if you want to see more evidence of the unexplained, the exhibition opens on November the 22nd at the Museum in Exile, which is part of the National Museum of Photography, Film and Television in Bradford. The good news is that whether you think it's all fact or fiction, you get in free.
And if you've taken a photo of unusual creatures, UFOs or any strange-looking thing, then the organisers of the exhibition want to know. It doesn't even matter if it's fake or real either. If you send them your photo, they might well include it in the exhibition. The address to send it to is Unexplained Photos, NMPFT, Pictureville, Bradford, BD1 1NQ. But note this, unfortunately, they cannot return any of the photos.
Do you know what? I've just seen an alien. It's there.
Oh,
UFO.
we love them. Now, don't worry if you didn't get the address down. You can find it along with details on all the items featured on today's programme on our CFAX pages, which start on page 525, as well as on the Blue Peter website.
That is sadly about it for today. We will be back on Wednesday, though, when there'll be gunpowder, treason and plot with the story of Guy Fawkes.
Yeah, and there'll be plenty of sparkle with our very own firework display.
So before we go, here are the Smith Hill School Senior Concert Band again with something for your ears only. Their James Bond fantasy.
And remember, if you entered the bike ride competition, watch carefully, because you never know, you might see your name just zipping along the screen in a moment.
Just a little for me. You saw what the silence